the U200 Camera Ring Light Video Rig by Ulanzi. That's fully yellow, fully white, and then brightness is down low there and up high there. Now when this runs out of battery, and you can see the battery meter, which is actually green, which is why you can't see the actual green color here. You can actually see the world behind it, like it's all see-through because it's green. When that reaches zero, you can't do a quick battery swap. You have to put this thing on charge and wait for it to charge. That's a disadvantage of this thing. Does it feel like it would bounce if I dropped it? It feels like it would crack and break if I dropped it. And I can clearly see how messy my screen is here. I tried to wipe it a bit. Didn't help. Alright. That is my new lighting rig. Okay, so I've taken the Neewer lighting rig off the wall in the bathroom, so I can give you a side-by-side comparison with the Ulanzi Smartphone Rig. So side-by-side, the Neewer rig uses Sony batteries. In this case, this one has got a battery flashing warning. It can Bluetooth to your camera's record button if you use some Neewer software app. It's got 3 mounting screws on the bottom. Capacity for 2 batteries for extended time. It doesn't double the power. Some cold shoe mounts at what I consider to be the base, but I guess up and down is arbitrary. 2 mounting screws at the top with 3 cold shoe mounts, controls on one side, and a power input for, I guess, charging the batteries that are sitting in there, which means this thing could remain fully powered at all times, I assume. And so you've got controls on both sides on this one. One side is for color temperature and the other side is for dimming. If we can turn it on, the battery's got enough juice. No, it doesn't. It does for a second. There you go. That's full brightness, yellow and white. Minimum brightness is off, which is handy. Now this goes just top and bottom. I'll turn that off. Second one is Ulanzi's light. This is a smartphone rig with external light for a smartphone. Right, power on does nothing. Holding power on for a considerably annoying amount of time lights the whole thing up. This is much smaller. Minimum dimness does not take it down to 0. Maximum brightness, if I just quickly compare maximum brightness in white level, I would say if that's on maximum brightness and I haven't missed anything, this is considerably dimmer than the Neewer, which seems much brighter. The Neewer is, I would say, 10 times brighter than the Ulanzi. I don't know how you can get a good way to tell that, but this could potentially light a room, and this could maybe just light a face. This accommodates full DSLR mounting support, and this might, but it would be pretty cramped in there if you consider the size of DSLR cameras with all their connections on top of that and everything else. This feels like a stronger build quality. Also, if I press the power button, it only turns off the 2 side ones, which would probably make this light too dim to achieve really anything at all, so it's kind of useless. This doesn't have a phone in it, but it feels a lot less heavy, a lot lighter than this. That just ran out of batteries. This has a quick swap battery system that you can keep these batteries charging and swap them out whenever you need to. And it would take you seconds to fully recharge that if you had fully working batteries. And this, I would say, would take hours to recharge. Seconds to recharge, hours to recharge. The power button becomes a toggle switch. If you have lots of things to do and this light is just one of them, you're going to have to stop everything you're doing and just hold your finger down for that much time every time you want to turn this thing off. Now, obviously, this is always going to be mounted to something by a single screw. So when you do turn it off, you've got to be pressing against whatever it's holding onto. There's no flicky switch or quick and easy button. You have to press hard, which actually makes this thing move. Ill-considered design. Very heavy. This one's 7.2 volts, and it doesn't say how many amps it draws at full brightness. And this one simply says power 20 watts, 5 volts. It contains an 8 amp hour battery. So for 1 amp, you'd get 8 hours use of this. But my guess is, based on reviews, that it lasts for 2 hours. It's using 4 amps when in use. And I assume that's full brightness. The fact that the power button doesn't just instantly turn on and off is very annoying. To have to hold your finger down on a button, a power button, which is the main controller. A power button should not be a menu button. It should just be power only, and that's it. But they've decided to make it a toggle switch between having 1 light or 2 lights. And given I never want just 2 lights, I always want 4 for uniform brightness or whatever, that's going to annoy the shit out of me. And there's no way to change that in any settings, because there are no settings. It's just power, which toggles between power on off, and 4 to 2 light switchings, which is basically useless unless you want to reduce the brightness, in which case you would just adjust the dimmer switch anyway, so I don't know why. Okay. Unfortunately, I just discovered something. Going up with the dimmer switch, when you rotate the wheel, you're rotating upwards, that dims it down. This is definitely made in China with that logic. I thought it was a no-brainer that I would be getting rid of this one and choosing this one, because basically the phone fits better and it's going to be a more rounded light around the outside. But I'm still not sure now. This one looks better, I think, than this one. Mostly because it's all compact, but it's got an 8,000 milliamp hour battery in it, which I am assuming is the cause for the weight. And I reckon it's probably down in here. I've also heard that this thing has a USB output, and I just found it here. That is USB, what I would consider an input for being charged. But I've also heard that you can take this USB socket and power out to your phone, so your phone can suck charge from its built-in battery, which is something to consider. I don't know how much use. Oh, sorry. This was hidden from me as well. Right here on the inside is a USB-A socket. So I would say that is the way you charge from the light to your phone, if you wanted to do that. So it seems like a very awkward space, but you would probably just have a cable coming out of the back, curling around in an awkward kind of way, and just sticking into whatever side of the phone is more appropriate. I don't know if there are any cables that are just short enough to go like that, and if there were, it would be very awkward to yank it all out when you're removing your phone from this thing. But it's something to consider, something they've given you. The USB-C is a good choice for power supply. 5 volts input, but now there are 35 watt chargers, so you could have fairly fast charging. If this internal battery is capable, or the circuitry connected to the battery is capable of charging this type of battery that quickly. Anyway, that is my roundup so far. I'm going to put this on the mount in the bathroom, and this will become my new mirror camera until I've decided which one I want to keep. That's to turn it off. Okay, so I've just mounted the new Ulanzi light mount. I'll just lower it down with the periscope so you can see yourself in the mirror a bit better. Okay. Unfortunately, this magic arm from Neewer is not friction based, and I've got to always lock it in position manually every single time I move it. So I will continue to search for a solution to this. Probably something more akin to a microphone stand with a friction twister. I was trying to rip my other microphone stand apart the other day to replace this magic stand because the clamp is no good, and having to use tensioners using the rosette connector here, for example, to lock things is a pain in the ass, and I just want it to stay where I put it every time. A-Power mirror is having some lag, I don't know why. It's not good. Now, from my standpoint, I'm going to loosen this clamp a bit. Don't want it to fall off, but I need there to be some maneuverability. That runs smooth now. Okay, so in terms of handling, I prefer this one. I prefer the Ulanzi. In terms of appearance, I prefer the Ulanzi. Battery swapping might not be a problem because I've got a PowerPoint right here, and that will I can easily reach that with a 1.5 or 2 meter USB-A to USB-C cable. Now, does it illuminate the back of my neck and head? Right, that neck is a bloody mess. It looks just awful. The other thing is I am experiencing some problems with the A-Power mirror app right now. I don't know why there's a lag in the connection. It could be something to do with my internet speed. But it shouldn't really, because internet and networks at home are not inextricably linked to one another, are they? I'm pretty sure it's maximum brightness. Now, in terms of brightness, look at the sun here on a very overcast day. I could draw the blinds, and that could increase the brightness effect. But as it stands, I don't have any problem with this brightness level. What if I turn it off? What's that? Or even just turn off 2 of the lights. Okay, that's completely off. Completely off would be unacceptable. On is good. I want to go to maximum height with the periscope up. So the weight is not a problem. The weight of this with my system here is not a problem. I thought it might be, but it's not at all. But when you're at this distance, I'm not sure you're bright enough anymore. I don't feel like it's bright enough anymore. If I could put the battery in the other one and light up the back of my head. I've got so many greys growing there now. Okay, so the light you're providing from this Ulanzi is almost, okay, it seems brighter when I go to the midway point when I've got both lights at full brightness between. Okay, so that's yellow, warm light. That's the midway point, which is both lights on at the same time. And that's full white. Full white is no match for a mixture between yellow and white. By comparison, this is the Neewer light. To be fair, I've got to put it back at the same distance. Take it away. Put the Neewer light back. Okay, so I'm just holding the Neewer light up in the air above my head and then twisting it away or towards, okay? And it's further away than the Ulanzi light. So Ulanzi light is on full brightness with both warm and cool maximized, okay? So Ulanzi's on full power. Now I'm going to bring in the Neewer light at the same distance. Without, with. Okay, now I'm just going to turn off. That just toggles two of the lights off. That's annoying. Okay, that's no light at all. The room light is on. I'll just turn the room light off. Okay, now there's only ambient light coming from the sun in that direction. Okay, ready? I'm going to bring in the Neewer light. If you were mounted in it, it would be a different story, wouldn't it? I'll just try to take you out. Take my phone out. Okay, that spring is pretty violent. What's the spring on this one like? Pretty violent too. Right, they're both pretty bad. I just wanted a friction holder, but you've got to deal with these bloody springs. Okay, so this is what the full brightness on the Neewer looks like. I'm getting massive amounts of lag from a power mirror now. Now I'll put you inside the Ulanzi. The Ulanzi light is really, really hard to open to get the phone in. It's almost like someone wants to bite your finger off. Unscrewing and unmounting all of this seems considerably like a pain in the ass. Seriously. I'm just gonna turn the light on and just keep you on the boom arm. So that's maximum brightness on Ulanzi, and I'll bring you in by loosening the magic arm here. Ulanzi, full brightness, and then now that's full white, but full bright, maximum brightness. Okay, so there's your comparison, draw your own conclusion. I can't make it any clearer than that. While I like the size of the Ulanzi light up here, it's just not very bright. Well, this one's almost blinding by comparison. The controls are always on the wrong side, but it doesn't make any difference because it's arbitrary, because this thing could have been mounted in the opposite direction. I would never go that dim under most circumstances, right? I guess when I've got both lights on the midway point, which is Not something you can click, you've just got to roll it halfway down and leave it without touching it. But then if you go reach for a different control, you've now moved it. But you wouldn't, because you just leave it on maximum brightness, because it's almost barely not bright enough even at maximum with both lights on. As you can see how much brighter this Neewer light is. I would say, given that brightness matters, and this one's lighter. The build quality on that one is about the same. This has a battery swap system, which might piss you off, but it does come with a battery and a battery charger. So if you do only have one of these batteries, because you only bought this and you've never bought another Neewer or Sony product before, then you'd have to take this out, go and put it in the charger, and then bring it back and plug it back in. Although, I think it does have a power input. Yes, it does. So, it's identical to that one. Sorry, to this one, right? This one charges the same way. This has a barrel connector that has a USB-C, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, they're going down to a wall brick, an adapter, transformer. But I think you're capable of charging faster with this. So not only will this charge this and this, two batteries at the same time, this becomes a new battery charger as far as I understand, not just powers this thing on. I'm just guessing that information by the way. But also you can quick swap out a battery if it's dead, and instantly you'll be fully recharged and ready to go. And it doesn't have some bullshit circuitry where the on-off switch is like intelligent. The on-off switch is simply a slave to what the human says. On, off. Simple as that. On, off. This one, if you can even find it among all the controls without brushing past all these controls as well on the way through. On, no, that's just switching, toggling, no. So, in terms of practicality, I hate to say it, but this one, which seems fairly cheaply made and feels like it would smash to a million pieces very easily if I dropped it, is superior to the Ulanzi. Neewer wins. Brighter, faster to charge, better user interface. The Ulanzi, heavy, small, limited charging capabilities, and not very bright. So, Neewer is a clear winner in this case. Neither of these two products are high quality. Both plastic, but that serves our purpose here because we want to keep things light. So, that's all right. I'm going to keep the Neewer. I'm going to go send the one that I just received, which I was waiting for, and I was thinking it was going to be amazing. If it was brighter, I would consider it. But it isn't. It's dim. That's it. It's maximum it can go. And the internal USB-A socket so you can charge your phone is pretty ridiculous. And what is this? It's a weird spot to put something, but it's neater, I guess, if, you know. And then the USB-C. It's mostly cleverly designed and easy to handle in terms of a light camera rig. Where are you? In terms of a camera rig that you can hold. But when it comes to brightness, there is no comparison. This is 10 times brighter than the Ulanzi.